Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and we are here with another narrated Pokemon battle. So this is a battle against Mr. Death, and of course he does have Yveltal, but he said this is basically his signature Pokemon, so yeah, I'm going to let him use it even though it's considered an Uber. So, looking at my opponent's team, he does have some interesting Pokemon, like the Torracat. I'm pretty sure that's Eviolite, and he does have Linoon. So Linoon's actually a Pokemon that it has a specific thing that it does to set up. Most people bring Belly Drum and Extreme Speed. So I'm going to lead off with my Zapdos. As you see on my team, most of the Pokemon on my team are OU, so that's pretty nice. I do have the Mega Sharpedo, which I would like to try out this time. But I'm going to Volt Switch right away and bring in my Tangrowth as a Pokemon that should be able to take anything that Linoon wants to do, even at max attack. So, of course, this thing's going to get the Belly Drum, but it's already ate its Aguave Berry, so it doesn't have that much survivability, as it's going to surprise me and go for a Gunk Shot. Now, that's a move I did not expect Linoon to get, so it's pretty interesting. I don't face that many Linoon, so I don't know exactly what moves they get in terms of coverage moves. But now I'm going to go into Heatran because Heatran should be able to take anything, and my opponent's going to go for a Belly Drum. I think he said that was actually a misclick there. But I'm just going to go for the Magma Storm, and that will finish off the Linoon. So this thing was becoming a threat. I don't know exactly if it had something for Heatran, but we took it out. So now my opponent's going to bring in the Togekiss, and if this is a Serene Grace Togekiss, they have basically the same tactic. Try to go first, Air Slash, flinch out the opponent, and I'm going to go for Toxic. Of course, that's really nice because Togekiss is more of a bulkier Pokemon. I just went Toxic because I think it'd be nice to do that. I actually don't have Flash Cannon on this one, so I think that works out. Besides, Togekiss does have pretty nice special defense, and Magma Storm by itself wouldn't be doing that much. So now I go for a Magma Storm with the idea that Togekiss was Toxic Poison. It would trap it in, but my opponent's going to swap out and bring in the Landorus. Landorus does not really take it that great. I mean, it is alive still, and I'm going to get out of here because Heatran will go down completely to an Earthquake. And I'm going to bring in Dragonite expecting the Earthquake, as my opponent's actually just going to go for the U-turn, expecting the switch there. So now that means my opponent can switch into anything that he would like here. And he's actually going to bring in that Torracat, which I'm pretty sure that is an Eviolite Torracat, but it does have the Intimidate ability, which is actually something I forgot because Incineroar, of course, got the Intimidate ability, and Torracat got it too. So now we're going to have two Intimidates on us, and I'm not going to stay in with that Intimidate, so I'm going to bring Heatran back in, which actually ends up being not the greatest switch in, because Landorus is here right now. So I'm going to get back out of there, and this time I'm going to go into my Zapdos instead of my Dragonite. We're going to, exert some pressure. That doesn't really matter. And the Earthquake, of course, but Zapdos is a flying type, so it doesn't really matter there. I'm going to go for Hidden Power Ice. That will finish off the Landorus from this point. And now I don't really have to worry about double Intimidates. Of course, Torracat still has Intimidate. And my opponent's actually going to go into Torracat here. That doesn't matter that much to my Zapdos. Of course, my Zapdos is actually Choice Spect. So I'm going to have to switch out because Hidden Power Ice is not going to be doing that much to a Torracat. And now this thing goes for the Swords Dance. And I still don't know exactly what Torracat wants to do. Eviolite Torracat with Intimidate and Swords Dance. But now my opponent's going to swap out, telling me that it probably doesn't really have something to take on Heatran that much. I'm going to go for Earth Power here, expecting it to stay in. But my opponent went into Togekiss. And what I want to do is swap out because I'm expecting the Aura Sphere. And I know Aura Sphere is going to hurt Heatran a lot. I'm going to go into my Zapdos. That way it can take the Aura Sphere. And, of course, the Togekiss will fire off an Aura Sphere. And Zapdos takes that really nicely. Zapdos pulling through, showing why it's a really big threat in OU. So now, of course, my opponent's not going to stay in on a Zapdos. And my opponent's going to bring in the Salazzle. So I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt here. Landorus is gone. I don't have to worry about a ground type coming in. And this thing actually has the Focus Sash. So now what I would like to do is go into Heatran. There's not really that much that Salazzle can do. Of course, it could go for Corrosive Toxic. But other than that, it's not able to do much against Heatran. It's going to go for a Dragon Pulse here. After, going for Sludge Bomb and Heatran being Steel type, that doesn't matter. And I'm just going to go for a Magma Storm, and we miss. So that's very unfortunate. Of course, this thing's going to try to get a Nasty Plot, hoping for another miss on the Magma Storm. But this time, I'm just going to go for an Earth Power. I see that my opponent's not going to go into Togekiss. So we'll just finish off Salazzle there with the Earth Power. But now Yveltal is going to come in. And like I said, this is MrDeath's signature Pokemon. We're going to see what he can do with this Yveltal. Of course, I have the upper hand because I still have 5 Pokemon. My opponent only has 3 now. And I'm just going to go for a Magma Storm. See how much damage this Yveltal takes from that, as it does less than half. So unfortunately, we're going to lose Heatran here. We didn't even get to go for the Groundium Z, which is what I was carrying on my Heatran. But now we can go into Clefable, and this thing cannot really touch Clefable that much. Clefable is a wonderful special defense wall. Oblivion Wing will come out, and it does less than half. So we're looking pretty good. I'm just going to go for a really nice Stealth Rock here because I think that's going to help out in the long run as my opponent brings in, the Togekiss again. It would be nice to get some chip damage on Togekiss. And if my opponent even starts swapping, of course he's going to stay in. Go for another Oblivion Wing. And of course, Clefable's going to live that. We're down to 22 HP, but Clefable doesn't care. Clefable's going to go for the Moon Blast, and we're going to hit this thing. Of course, Moon Blast will lower this thing's special attack, but looking at how much damage that did, Yveltal actually took that pretty well. I'm guessing there's some bulk to this maybe, or I don't know, maybe this is just its natural state of special defense, but it's going to go for a Dark Pulse this time, and it's going to be able to take out Clefable at its weakened state. So now we're going to go into Zapdos, and I'm hoping to be able to finish this off. My opponent does have some flying types left, and I could just easily go for a Thunderbolt and get probably a clean sweep here. The Yveltal will go for Sucker Punch because that's really all it can do at this point. It does just considerable damage because Yveltal does have surprisingly decent attack. And now Torracat's going to come in. Luckily, we got those Stealth Rocks up, so it's going to do some decent damage. Intimidate doesn't matter to Zapdos. This thing is a special attacker. So I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt. I'm hoping to get the nice Zapdos sweep here. And Torracat will go down to the Thunderbolt. So I was actually wondering what Torracat could be bringing, since it's a Pokemon you don't see that much in competitive play. And Eviolite, yeah, I know it probably does have the Eviolite. Now the Zapdos will take an Air Slash by this Togekiss, maybe hoping for the flinch. And Togekiss, it is Toxic Poison. It just took some Stealth Rocks, and it's going to go down to a Choice Specs Thunderbolt from a Zapdos. So we get a nice victory there. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next Pokemon video.